Hi everybody, welcome back to Darlingbrough Model Railway. I'm Richard. Just want to say a massive thank you firstly to everybody who's contacted me after the last video. I actually had quite a lot of response in relation to using random 4-stroke engine oil to lubricate my little locomotive. I had a few comments, in particular Barnabas Junction, who said under no circumstances use lawnmower oil. And he also recommended that I use an oil pen so that I can get a nice precise amount of oil. Thank you very much for that comment. I also had another comment from Ronald Merritt. Now, I'm not sure what happened, but I did get the comment on the notification, but for some reason it's not appeared on the YouTube. But I've got a screenshot of it. Basically, he says, don't use the engine oil, use oil by Gauge Master or Pico, or you can use sewing machine oil. So that's from Ron at Willenhall Parkway. Again, I'm not sure what happened to the comment, but thank you very much for the feedback, Ron. So, as far as when it comes to lubricating the engine for this is out. I don't know why I threw it over there. I'll have to pick it up in a minute. I also had some comments in relation to my other loco, because I've only got two at the moment, my little Class 58. And I just want to say a massive thank you to John from Barnston Camp Junction. He suggested that it sounded quite noisy as it was driving around my little track. And he asked me if it was a Coco or a Bobo. I'll be honest, I didn't have a clue what it was on about. I've never heard the term before, so I got back in touch with him and I did ask him. Apparently a Coco is when a locomotive has 6 wheels, and a Bobo is where it has 4. So as you can see, it's got 6 wheels on each end. So yeah, so it's very much a Coco. So thank you very much, John. You learn something new every day. Speaking of something you have to do every day, I've got a lot of tidying up to do at the moment, because basically the shed's just been left as it was last time I was in here. And yeah, I've kind of just left a big mess for myself. So thanks very much, Richard, you little... So that's it for this week. Not really, only kidding. Okay, so now that I've finally tidied up a little bit and stopped swearing at myself, I've decided that what I want to do is continue to work on getting some track down, specifically the inside track on this end here, the industrial area. I just basically want to get the track down and kind of in place so that I can kind of see how it's going to look. Now I do plan on putting some of the buildings down as well. Taking on board Andy Russell's comment from last week about the problems I was having with the drawbridge at the other end of the shed, I've decided to, as a bit of an experiment, use some flexi track rather than using the fixed sort of set track. Now, the problem is I am not an expert when it comes to using flexi track. Now, I'll be honest, I have used some flexi track on my layout so far. However, these have been long straights. I have not used any for curves. The main reason is, I'll be honest, I really don't get on with FlexiTrack. I find it very, very difficult to work with. What I don't get is when you bend it, obviously one rail becomes longer than the other. Now obviously I understand the principle behind it, as being a curve, the outside rail will need to be longer. What I don't get is how you're supposed to use FlexiTrack and get everything to connect up. Am I the only person in this hobby that has issues with FlexiTrack? Is it just me, or is there an issue with it? Is it a knack that I've just not got? please, by all means, give me your comments, any suggestions, any tips. If you've got any links, you know, to videos or anything that would maybe help me, please don't hesitate. Leave the comments down below, or you can actually send me a message using one of the social media channels that I've got up there. Now, I'll be honest, I have seen a few videos already regarding using FlexiTrack. In particular, I watched quite an interesting one from Chadwick Model Railway featuring Charlie Bishop. He has a massive fiddle yard underneath his main layout, and he has about 8 or 9 tracks that go around a nice big curve. He uses a lot of the FlexiTrack, and he talks about it in quite great detail. He uses various track setters so that you can get the correct radiuses, and he talks about how to try and marry them up. I will put the link down below, so obviously if you are interested you can watch that. I've watched every single one of his videos to date, so I am fully up to date with him. So Charlie, if you are watching, welcome from Darlingbrough Model Railway. Anyway, I'm going to go back to it and just try and see what I can get on with. I've been trying on and off camera for last couple hours or so to get the curve so that it basically comes from here and around and then connect to the other end to go round. I'm frustrated again and it's winding me up. I can see why a lot of people, a lot of inexperienced modelers use pieces of set track simply because it's a lot easier. I can't get it to stop doing that, and it's really bugging me. So it's been about a day since I filmed the last bit on the video. Since then, obviously I've had a sleep and I've come into the shed refreshed, and I've just sat and basically had a play with the layout, which I didn't film because I just wanted a little bit of time just basically to myself without having to worry about the filming. It's kind of helped because before I was really getting wound up and stressed out about the FlexiTrack and the fact that I couldn't really get it to work. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning when I was filming it, so I was quite tired. So what I would recommend to anyone is, if you are working on a model railway and you are at the stage where you're getting annoyed with it, you're getting frustrated, don't carry on. Put your tools down, go away from the layout, shut your doors, shut the shed down, shut the loft or your hobby room, wherever you've got your layout sorted. Take a break, go away from it for a little while, give yourself time just to recuperate and just come back to it when you're ready. I now feel a lot more refreshed and a lot better mentally to take on the layout. I've basically reset up the shunting yard, and I've also worked on getting the outer and the inner loop connected so that I can actually transfer trains from one loop to the other. It's given me a chance to reconnect with the layout and kind of think about what needs to be done. I have made some kind of startling realizations that basically I've got a few things that I'm going to have to amend before I kind of go forward. The first point, which is the one I'm really reluctant to work on, is the rocky bridge section. As you know, I built this before I even started on the layout. I have a couple of pieces of flexi track, which are just long straights, all set down, all ballasted, and it really works nicely. However, the track is actually too close together to kind of work nice and smoothly with the rest of the layout. Now, as you can see here, the spacing is completely different. It is off by, you know, maybe half a centimetre or so. The main problem is at this end where I'm trying to get the tracks to go on Diamond Crossing. Now obviously what I've decided I'm going to have to do is pull the track up, which is a bit depressing. It's the only bit that I've actually glued down and ballasted. Relay the track with the correct spacing. I've also noticed that there is actually a big dip on the rocky bridge section as well. The baseboards and the top of the rocky bridge section don't quite line up properly. It's always been on the back of my mind, if I'm honest with you, but it's kind of like one of them problems that I was hoping that if I ignore it, it will go away. I've now realised that it's a problem that I do have to address. I'm also considering removing some, if not all, of the foam that's underneath the track, because I've noticed, especially on the drawbridge section, that it causes quite a bit of play in the height of the rails, which is causing a lot of issues with derailing. So I think that in the next few weeks I am going to be redoing a lot of the track work. Now, I'll be honest, part of me is a bit down about that because it feels like I'm kind of ripping everything up and starting again. But part of me is actually quite happy about it because everything I've done so far has been a positive learning experience. I now feel that I can get to where I am again a lot quicker. I've also had a good chance to play around with the flexi track, and I do feel that I can actually manage to work out how to get the track running a lot smoother using more or less flexi track. I will obviously be using set track pieces, for example the points, the diamond crossing, etc. But for the curves, yeah, I think I can probably use flexi track. So with that all in mind, I'm going to leave this video at this stage. Now I have got something else coming up this weekend, something a bit spooky. Well, not really, a bit silly, but so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, have a very happy Halloween, and I shall see you again next week. Enjoy these videos.